Hey everyone, this is Elias from Resembled Media, and today we're going to be taking a look at the 2025 Lexus UX300h F Sport handling. Now, after having this for a week, I couldn't help but to think this is kind of like a fancy Corolla. And let's just say that's not a bad thing. So let's go ahead and get started. We get started in the front, and this thing looks really great. A lot of the typical Lexus design language, which is good, and we have some great little things to this as well. First, that Copper Crest color looks incredible. I love it. It has so much depth to it. It has a lot of metallic, which adds to that depth. It's just a great shade, especially for a vehicle like this. So makes it nice, fun, interesting, better than black, white, and silver. So yes, you still have those options, but this is really a nice way to go. So we have that. Now, one thing I do want to mention is the headlights. They look cool. I love the boomerang and I love the LED system here, but we were having a big issue with this headlight because it kept giving us kind of a small dead spot on the left hand side. And yes, you're probably thinking, well, that's just to stop blinding oncoming traffic, but that's not the case because the blind spot wasn't at the end of the light output. Because if I understand, if you had light output that was shorter on the left and then obviously further out on the right, completely understandable. But it was literally like a hole prior to the cutoff of the light. So it was a little distracting. It was a little distracting because, out of your peripheral, you kind of see this shadow moving, and you think it's something, especially that I live in a more rural area that our main streets usually aren't lit up. So yeah, I'm not too much of a fan of the light output for this. They look cool, but they don't shine really well, or we have that hole in the light output. So yeah, kind of a letdown. But we come down here, we do have the fog lights, which were fine. Those had no issues with lighting the kind of immediate area in front. And because this is the F Sport, we are going to get a little bit more aggressive kind of plastic area or aerodynamic trim, so to speak, here on the side, which I think it looks good. And the fact that we have it in black looks great, gloss black with the Copper Crest color as well. We get to the grille, and yes, we have a big grille here like we do normally with the Lexus vehicles. And we don't have a front-facing camera, which is kind of where this was a little lacking, because we do have a rear camera, but it's lower quality and kind of hard. It wasn't a very wide angle camera, so I was really needing to be careful backing out of a spot if I had two big vehicles. And living in Texas, everyone has a truck. It was happening constantly. So yeah, I wish we had a better, even if we don't have a 360-degree system, having a better, wider rear camera angle would have been nice. But yeah, design-wise though, it looks great. Love the lower lip there as well in the gloss black. And yeah, I love this hood because it kind of has like a soft bulge here that just gives it a nice line to it. So let's go ahead and see what we have under this hood. We get under the hood and we have the 2.0 liter inline 4-cylinder hybrid engine. It is cranking out 196 net combined horsepower, and then the power goes to the ECVT and then to the front wheels. Now, starting with the engine, it's nice, it's smooth, it's really the amount of power that you want. I mean, for something like this, again, we're not expecting to just shred tires, which you can get the tires spinning in this, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But yeah, the power delivery is great. It's nice and linear. I love the hybrid system, with the power delivery it has there. So that's not a problem. And then the ECVT, no issues with how it delivers the powers to the front wheels. We do get a simulated shifting aspect when we go into sport mode, and we also have paddle shifters. Not sure why in the CVT, but sure, give me whatever you want. We can pump in the noise, or we can amplify or change the noise inside of the cabin. So we do have a little button for that. It's a little whiny. I had to turn it off because it was kind of getting annoying when you're in sport mode, of course. But yeah, when you're in everyday driving, it's super quiet. No issues with it. It's probably going to do hundreds of thousands of miles if you just maintain it right. Yeah, it's really not exciting, but it's not a bad thing, which is kind of what you want in this kind of vehicle. So for that, I give it a great praise. Yeah. Now, okay, so if you're in inclement weather, definitely go with the all-wheel drive. You're gonna want the additional power distribution so that, you know, you have the most amount of traction. One thing I do want to mention is the MPGs, which was really nice to have in a vehicle like this. But as far as these are the numbers for front wheel drive. So front wheel drive, now for city, we get a estimated 45 MPG, highway it's 41, and combined 43. That's actually not that bad. It's actually really good for a little vehicle like this. We have the hybrid power plant. Like I said, it's very efficient. It just does the job. Yeah, not too exciting, but like I said, it's kind of what you want in a vehicle like this. So let's go ahead and take a look at those wheels and tires. We get down to the wheel and tire package, and we have the 18-inch wheel, and it is wrapped in the 225/50 Bridgestone Turanza EL 450 tire. Now, a couple of things with this. So the design looks great, very classy, very simple, nothing too attention grabbing in a negative way. So like that. The color though, I think we could have done a little bit better and gone with a gloss black, especially when we have the F Sport package. And that's what, you know, typical of Lexus, where we make things either body color or we accent them in black. But yeah, because it's kind of like a gray matte, but still glossy finish to it. Yeah, I think that's probably what I would change with that. Then the brakes were really good. No issues, great pedal feel. Yeah, that was one of the things. I loved the pedal feel. The tires were okay. They were okay. They did slip a little bit, so if you hammer it and the conditions aren't ideal, you can definitely get this tire spinning. Just be aware though, thankfully though, that the traction control is not a very aggressive system in the sense of it just kind of cutting off the power or slamming on the brakes to stop the wheel spin. It lets you kind of get it going a little bit to really catch up and get the power down. So I did like that. But just be aware, the tires may need something a little bit grippier. If you're, especially in an F Sport kind of trim to things. And the noise though, there was some roads that really exposed a lot of noise coming out of this tire. So other situations that I've driven other vehicles with similar, you know, CUV or hatchback, and I didn't encounter that much noise with them. But yeah, with these, they're gonna be a little bit on the noisier side for that. Suspension was great. Love the suspension because we have the handling package. We do get the adaptive suspension. So if you wanna kind of cruise, you can put it in comfort mode. If you don't want to, you know, if you wanna have some fun driving around, being a little bit more sportier, you can put it in Sport S Plus, and it tightens things up, and there's a big difference between those modes. So really nice to see that, especially the fact that we're, you know, have the option, and the option is actually working. So now let's go ahead and take a look at what we have on the side. We get to the side and we can see it's like a fancy Corolla. It also has kind of some BZ4X styling to it, but in a significantly better way. Yeah, I had kind of a little thing with that BZ4X. But let's get started on kind of the front. And the big thing, because we have the F Sport, the fender covers here are going to be color coded. So there and here. So they're gonna match the paint color. I don't know how I feel because they do look cool, but then so do the black ones. And like I said, better than the BZ4X, yes. Yeah. I like it more because it's not the big fender part of it that it's in black, but it's just the actual fender cover part. But yeah, it's colored on the bottom. We do have the black texture though, and then up here, I love the lines that we get with these covers in the rear. Again, painted the same color as the Lexus itself, but loving that. And then yeah, we take a look at the 18-inch wheels and we can see a good size. Don't want to go bigger. I wouldn't want to go smaller either. So loving that. And then we have the F Sport badge here. We do get the black on the top. Same thing on the roof with this one. So the roof is black. We do have the roof rails here to, you know, if you're needing additional space, which we're gonna see, we might actually need to get something like that if you're considering to carry a lot of space with this. But we have that. Now, the one thing I'm kind of confused is the chrome framing, yes, around the windows. I wish it were all in black, and it's like shiny chrome. It's not even like a dark chrome or anything like that. So yeah, that was just kind of a letdown. Now, as far as design wise though, I'm loving this part. That's probably one of my favorite. Yeah, this isn't too bad, but the fact that we have this line just kind of coming up and then it just kind of carves out in here. Now, I have my key in my pocket and I can go ahead and reach at the door. It has a sensor, it opens up, and I'm good to go. It's a big door, which makes getting in and out really easy. So if you're an empty nester and you know you're downsizing from an LX and you like the Lexus line, you want to continue with it, and again you're looking for something smaller, this is actually a really great option because it sits low and you're able to get in easily. And again, big doors, not a problem there. And then we open up the rear and yeah, you kind of have to unlock to get to the rear. You open this up. This is where it's going to suffer though. It is a little bit on the smaller side to get into the back. So if you're not really going to be using it for carrying a lot of people, tall people, then you're fine. If you're going to be needing this for more than 2 people that aren't tall, then you may need to look elsewhere. That was the one thing. Again, and that's why I kind of called this the fancy Corolla, because I had that issue with the Corolla hatchback where the back seats were a little bit smaller than they were in the sedan. So just kind of be aware of that. The door doesn't open really that much. My seat is really not that back. I'm not a tall guy, and it's actually going beyond the B-pillar here. So yeah, careful with your rear passengers because they may not like you with what you put in there, with the fact that you're putting them in there. So we'll take a look at that though. So with that being said, let's take a look at the trunk area. We get to the back, and I love a lot of the design work that we get in the back here of the UX. So let's get started from the top, and we have the kind of roof spoiler. It sticks out a little bit here, not too much, very subtle, has the third brake light. It is in the gloss black. Again, we have that black roof. We also have the shark fin antenna up there, which looks really good. Now, we do have this rear glass. It's not the biggest, so just be aware of visibility with this. It's not the biggest. We do have a rear wiper to help with the very little limited visibility. And yeah, we had some really bad rain last night, which is kind of why you see all the dirtiness to it. But it's good because you can see kind of what is to be expected. Thankfully, we have this wiper because it would have stayed there, and we definitely need the visibility. We come a little bit down and we have the taillights. These taillights are awesome. I love the design that we get from that line coming off the fender. We have the really cool frosted kind of LED just going all the way across. It looks like we have bull horns. So in very Texas fashion, I think it works really well here. But yeah, loving that. We do have the reverse light there as well. Just the whole system looks really cool. Love this design work. Then we have the Lexus badge. We have the UX300H. And then we have the lower part here where we have the black kind of bumper there. It looks good. I think I probably would have liked it to be in gloss black, similar to what we get in this little trim piece there. And an exhaust tip would have been nice. You know, not needed, but you know, we're doing with F Sport here. We're dealing with F Sport, and like I said, it would have been a nice little touch. Nothing fat, nothing outrageous, but just a subtle exhaust tip would have been a nice touch to this rear. Now, the only thing though I kind of was having difficulty with was the button to open up the hatch. It is kind of low. I mean, it's down here, but, and I guess the position isn't as bad as I was hoping we'd get the Lexus L to be the function, or the typical Lexus button that we get in the taillight. But other than that though, it's really nice. I like this. So let's go ahead and see what we have in here. We open up the trunk by pressing the button underneath there. It opens up, and I gotta say, there isn't really much space here. That was the big surprise for this, because it is super tall. And again, I understand if we have the all-wheel drive, I get it, differentials, things like that, or whatever has to kind of take up space right under here. But this is a front-wheel drive. At least give me additional space. So it's really not that tall. As you can see, my bag is kind of reaching essentially the height limit we get with this. Under here though, we do have this nice little mat in the trunk. We can open up here, and we have a little bit of space here, so we do get additional little area there, and we can go a little further where we get this little storage. So yeah, I kind of wish we had this to begin with instead of having to going through all these things. So personally, I think I'd probably get rid of this thing if I owned one of these, so that I can go ahead and actually just use the depth that we don't have, but we kind of do, in just a not good way. We take a look at the front door, and it's a little on this kind of boring, plain side. There's nothing too wow about it. There are some things I actually don't like about it, and that is this kind of top area here. It's not very good for resting your arm, and yeah, as an armrest. And the reason why is because it's not that thin. It does kind of bulge out a little bit here, but it's already too low. Like, I can't rest my arm up here. And I wish we just kind of had this continuation of this like upper piece there to just kind of go all the way across. So yeah, not a big fan of that. We do get 3 saved presets, which is a good touch if you're going to be sharing this with others. Get your sweet spot in and you're set, literally. We have the handle, which has kind of that black chrome finish to it. Really liking that look to it, so no issues there. Then we have the actual armrest, which isn't bad. It's pretty good. But again, I like the height of this up here compared to the lower part here. We have the controls, no issues. Then we have for a water bottle here, and not much space there. The sound system, not bad. Sounds pretty good. Looks kind of on the plain side. But yeah, that's kind of what you get with the door of the UX. We get to the seats, and these things are incredible. I was a massive fan of these all week. And yeah, their adjustability is there. Very simple, but I mean, they just fit so well. And that's because of the really tall side bolsters, but still wide enough for being big boy friendly. So loving that. We do get the F Sport badging right up here, or the actually inlay that we have there. Now, the one thing that's really cool is that even though we have the black interior, on kind of the inside, there's a little bit inside of these like red little circles, which is where you get the venting. Yes, venting and heated option. They're kind of red, so loving the way that looks there. And then we have the stitching itself, which actually is red, which is a nice little touch. But yeah, overall though, I was loving these seats and constantly just wanted to drive this thing because it was so relaxing to be in these. We take a look at the steering wheel, and it's really nice. I like it. It's pretty sporty. So a couple of things. We do have a kind of a dimpled leather on the sides with the softer leather on the top and more dimpled on the side. and softer on the bottom. We get the F Sport little badge there, which is good. We get red stitching, which I'm always a sucker for, so loving the way that that looks. And then on the left-hand side, we have the buttons for the gauge cluster system, and then we have the volume up and down buttons down here, which was a nice little touch. And then we have the options on the right hand side here for the cruise control system, and then the next and previous track. Yeah, pretty simple, very straightforward, very nice to drive with. You know, the feedback we got from it was really good. And then we also somehow have a need for paddle shifters, I guess to kind of make up for the fact that you're paying more for the F Sport, even though probably is not needed because this is, again, an eCVT. But yeah, that's kind of what you get with the wheel. Really liking it, actually. Then we get over to the gauge cluster, and very simple, very straightforward, nothing super wow, but I do like a couple of things. So I do like the fact that we have kind of these 3 different modes that we can customize. So starting with my first one on the left hand side, I customize it to show me my EV driving ratio. So in this case, because I just turned it on to film this part, it's only showing 8% 75% of EV with 8 minutes of it being on. And then we have the middle part, which is, you know, essentially your tachometer, which actually turns into a tachometer, which I'll show you. But that's, you know, your measure of eco, where you're charging, regenerative charging, and then you have your power mode. And then on the right hand side, it's basically what is the power doing, as far as, are you using the electricity of the battery, or are you using the gas power engine? So yeah, we have that. And then if you want to kind of customize it, so, and then on the second one, I put my G-forces on the left and then my MPGs on the right, which you can see we did 43. That's actually really good. You know, and I wasn't babying it the whole time, and we were getting some mixed driving, so it definitely could have been better if I decided I want to behave a lot more in this. And plus, our driving during our review really skews that number, but it was really good. But basically, if I push down and hold, I can change whatever that is. So I can be EV ratio, driving support, navigation. We have audio, drive info, energy monitor. So yeah, that's kind of what you get. What I find kind of hilarious is we can put 2 of the same gauges on there, so it doesn't kind of eliminate the other one. I guess you save time in programming, but yeah, that's kind of what you get with that. Now, if I go into, so drive modes, we have eco, we can press for normal, and then press again for custom. We can go up for sport, which, yeah, we get a round, sporty tachometer. And then we press it again, or turn it to go into Sport S Plus mode. So we get a little bar to fill up, a digital bar to fill up, which then has me kind of angry right now that I think about it, because the Toyota GR86 had this problem that I didn't get a linear tachometer. Yeah, I'm a little pissed off about that. I'll put it in a nice way, as nice as I can. And that was one of the biggest things that I kept hitting the rev limiter. So yeah, thankfully we have it correctly in this eCVT equipped vehicle. But yeah, that's kind of what you get with that. Majority of the time I was literally in just my my drive mode for one, which was EV driving ratio, and then yeah, you can see the engine turned on and it's charging the battery. Now, coming up here above the steering wheel or the gauge cluster, we have basically the knob to turn traction control off. So actually it's a button for this one. Just press it and it turns off. And I confused it with the drive mode knob, because yeah, this is actually a knob up here that you turn, like I said, down for eco, push in for normal, push in for custom, up for S or sport mode, and then Sport S Plus mode there. Yeah, not sure why we have them there. I always call them the bull horns because it feels like you're grabbing a bull by its horn. This could have definitely been buttons, and I'll show you where once we get to the center console. We get over to the infotainment screen and we have the Lexus system, which I've been loving with every Toyota and Lexus that we get. The newer system, no complaints about it. Wireless Apple CarPlay, very simple to activate, very simple to basically get into any other menu that you need to. It's very well laid out. Again, simplicity, thank you, but still have a good amount of power for what you can do with this, as opposed what I mean as like functionality and things like that. So loving that. And yeah, it's nice that we can do that go full widescreen, but my favorite is definitely to have that little side menu so I don't have to go to home and then try to get into the Lexus menu. I can always have access to my Lexus menu there. But yeah, that's kind of what you get with the infotainment screen. And it is out of the view, so this is kind of my field of vision. And yeah, you can see right down, but still visible. One thing I don't like though is the fact that we have the volume knob right in here. It's actually kind of difficult to reach, and my passenger definitely is not going to be able to reach it. So I really wish it were maybe over here, as crazy as that sounds, because I think I could probably reach this better than I would up here. And more importantly though, my passenger can grab it and turn it, because I can just use the steering wheel, which is what I've been using literally 99.9% of the times, other than me right now to show you. We come down to the climate system. Very simple, very straightforward, no issues with it. Just a matter of setting it and really forgetting about it. So it's just that good, and that's what you want. You don't want anything. It still looks great, still looks futuristic. It's not going to look outdated. So loving that. But again, the big thing is that it's super simple to use and very straightforward. We come down to the charging area and we have two USB-C connections if you want to go ahead and plug in, or we have the wireless charger, which we can go ahead and do the check test. Is it charging? It is charging. Yeah, and it's been pretty good at charging too. I haven't really had any major issues with it charging, so yeah, not a bad wireless charger there. And it's out of the area like we did, unlike the other, I forgot what Lexus we had that was exposed, sun got to it, got really hot. No issues with that in this model, so loving that. Then we get over to the cup holders, and we have a good size cup holder here. We do have a good gap, but we don't have that much height, so just be aware, taller cups may not be good. I'll go ahead and put my water bottle just to kind of have as an example. Yeah, so very standard water bottle. No issues with it there, but once you start getting those bigger cups, it's definitely going to kind of go over, and you may have some issues with getting those cups in there. But yeah, that's kind of what you get with that. Then we come over to the shifter. Very simple, very straightforward. We have the tiny little shifter, which has been one of my favorite ones because it's just super easy to go into drive, go into neutral, go into reverse, and then go into drive, and then go into sport. So, and then park it, and you're good. So yeah, very simple, very quick to access, very small footprint, which is kind of a letdown because I think they could have reorganized things a little bit better, maybe bring this a little closer to the edge to give more space for other things here, which is like what I was talking about, the drive modes. We could have definitely put the drive modes here because we have so much space there instead of putting it on those bull horns, like I called them. And then we have your climate things here for the seats. We are cooling right now. We were heating up earlier when we woke up and it was 40 degrees, and heated steering wheel as well, and we can just kind of have it in the auto there as well. So loving this though. So, and I love the fact that it's such a flat button layout, so it's not something that's like sticking out and you may accidentally press them because they stick up so much. We have that. Then over here we have the EV mode button, which again, it's unfortunately just kind of under 20 miles an hour. Once you go a little bit faster, it's gonna kick in the gas engine. So yeah, kind of a letdown. I wish we could like kind of have a full EV, but I understand battery sizes and that stuff. And then we have the brake hold, which was good. No issues with it. Loved it. Always do. And that's kind of what we have with this little area. So this is one thing I really dislike about this Lexus, and this is going to be a pro tip. This is where the parking brake is located. So we're zoomed in, right? But this is kind of where it lives. And when you're here, you don't really see it. And let me go ahead and turn on the car. You don't really see it, especially when you're like this. So yeah, I had a situation where I was trying to leave my driveway, and the parking brake automatically engaged because, yeah, you can see it there. It is actually engaged on its own. And when I went to go accelerate, I couldn't find it. It wasn't anywhere near here. It was really dug in here. And I have the marks on my driveway to show that. I had to really literally drag it. It wouldn't disengage, which I guess is good, but yeah, I don't know. Big design flaw, I think. Definitely should have been, you know, here where we have all this space for things like I mentioned earlier. But yeah, then we get over to the armrest, and it is super soft. I am loving this finish. I do like the extended area here as well, or we can just kind of be on the short side of things. So loving that. Again, my favorite thing, which thank you to the YouTuber that commented, that said, yeah, this has 2 buttons because you can open it up that way by pushing that little button on the side, and then you can do the same thing on the other side, pushing it, but then it opens up the other way. So really liking that. I think it's a really cool design. And then we get the fact that we don't have that much space in here, though. That's kind of the only letdown. So just be aware. Unfortunately, because of that mechanism, the armrest kind of comes in on both sides. So yeah, you're gonna have to kind of put things at an angle to get them in if they're just the tight fit for it. Yeah, that's kind of the only thing with that, but it is so soft and super comfortable. We get to the back door, and yeah, there's nothing really much to it or anything spectacular. The top is a little bit better for the armrest. As an armrest, then we have the bottom area there. And then we have no storage there. So just kind of be aware. Again, that's why I said this is kind of like the fancy Corolla, because we didn't get much functionality in the rear. And unfortunately, when we start talking about functionality, that's kind of what we're going to get in the rear as well. You can see my seat. I wasn't sitting that back. That's kind of like my normal seating, but because this isn't such a big rear area, you are going to, yeah, you're going to come into the rear significantly. So just kind of be aware of that. But the materials themselves, yeah, we have nice finishes to the rear seat. We do have, my kid's seat isn't in here because we have to take it out, but very easy to just kind of take these things out, and the latch is there. Yeah, just, this is always a pain, not just for this car, but in every car in general. But yeah, we get those. They do get their own vent in the back. They do have their plugs for charging down there, and they get their hidden cup holders right in here. No issues with that. So get that there. And then if you want to put the seat down, you can just go ahead and it'll go down. But again, that's kind of what you're going to encounter when you have such a small car like this. So yeah, but you know, it can go through, which is nice when we had all those things in the back if we needed the additional space with this little flap to make sure that everything is flat. But yeah, that's kind of what you get in the rear. We go for a drive in the UX, and we put it in EV mode, and unfortunately though, it won't stay there for very long if you start kind of going. So I'll go ahead and see. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's probably about 25 miles an hour that it will switch over. Yeah, there we go, 20 miles an hour. It switches over to the hybrid mode, which I wish we had the function of just kind of keeping it all EV, but I get it. It's probably not that big of a battery to be able to just have it in a dedicated EV mode. which is kind of the thing with multiple Lexus Toyota hybrids, that we can't really stay in EV mode. But anyways, the ride is smooth though. It's super comfortable. With this being the F Sport handling option, we do get the S Plus for suspension, which does tighten things up significantly. So we'll see that when we have some fun in my little favorite area. But drivability, it's there. It's so easy. My wife saw me because we took this to a semi in area road trip, and my wife goes, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, because she saw that I was just kind of relaxed and kind of just zoned in on just driving, and she asked me, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm actually really good because I'm super comfortable. You know, this is super easy to drive." And I think that's what makes this such a great little vehicle. It's such a great little overall package to make things easy. Granted, yeah, there's some things I'd like a little bit more seating room in the back seat, but obviously now you're dealing with larger vehicles for, you know, someone that may not need it. Again, this has its market for, you know, maybe empty nesters that just want to downsize from that LX. Yeah, you have this, or for, you know, sending your kid off to college with a little bit of prestige with that Lexus badge. It's a little bit classier, I think, than just the standard Corolla, which this is kind of reminds me of that, which isn't bad because it's, like I said, the Corolla is a great platform, and then just kind of having this as the more Lexus luxurious version, I think it works well. I think it works really well. Now we're gonna go ahead and switch it over to Sport Plus mode. Now this is what I don't really like, where we have to have kind of the switch for the mode there when we can easily have it right in here. So yeah, that's kind of a shame that we have that. So we go ahead and put it in sport mode, and we have gears to shift, even though this is an eCVT. So let's go ahead and braking. Good. Yeah, the brakes have a great feel to them. Suspension, yeah. Power delivery, it's there. It has some. It's not super, super fast, but it does definitely get the power down. Now, one thing, speaking about getting the power down, is, yeah, we had some inclement weather. We had some rain, and the road was a little slick. This is the front-wheel drive model, so we don't have the all-wheel drive power distribution, but I had to accelerate a little bit quickly to kind of get in line with traffic kind of thing, or to make a left turn, and it spun the wheels. So it spun the wheels, and typically not what you want, but what I like that it didn't do is, with that traction control, when it did kick in, it didn't kill the power, which is probably one of the biggest things I hate when a traction control system literally feels like it just stops the car. It did some wiggling of power adjustment and then just let me go. So that was the biggest thing, and I think I prefer that over just a complete stop, and then you're literally in the middle of an intersection when you need it to just go. So yeah, loving that, Lexus. So thank you for programming your traction control that way. Maybe a little tighter, a little bit faster reaction, I would say, because I was definitely spinning some of the wheels. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and do our 3-point stop. Let's see how we do with this. Yeah, the sensor's kind of freaking out because we're catching tall grass there. And the steering wheel is a little stiff because I do have it in Sport Plus mode. So yeah, it didn't do too bad. This grass is getting tall, so it's not really letting me go from place to place. So it didn't do too bad. I haven't had really any issues with parking this. I would like a 360-degree camera system. I know. But the rear camera is a little tough to kind of use because it's not really wide, and it's also kind of blurry. Low quality really is the answer. So we've gone ahead and set up the race box. It's our little telemetry box to see our 0 to 30, 0 to 60, and even more. It has a drag timer. It has a lap timer. So love that little box. Really clear, small and compact as well. They have other models that are even smaller. But yeah, if you're interested in one of them, check it out. I'll put the link in the description and possibly for a small little discount. So we have it set up, and yeah, we have the 0 to 30 and 0 to 60 set up. I am in Sport Plus mode, and we are in sport mode for the suspension, the transmission as well. So we'll go ahead and see if we load it up a little bit. Yeah, and away we go. Okay, so the numbers are 0 to 30 in 2.75 seconds and 0 to 60 in 7.82 seconds. I believe that's actually quicker than what Lexus reads this at. I believe it's 8 seconds if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, 0.2 of a second faster. But I do like the power delivery. It's nice and smooth, it's linear. Again, this isn't something that I'm expecting like super high performance out of, even though we have the Sport, you know, the F Sport handling package on this. It feels good. I do like the adjustability of the suspension. So I think if I were to get one, I would go with the handling package. So you do have that adjustable suspension to soften it up on days that you just kind of want to relax. And if you want to kind of toss this around, I guess you would put it just in that Sport S Plus mode. But yeah, there was like, okay, cool. Distribute the power a little bit more to the other wheel. The only thing though is, yeah, that sound, I'm gonna turn it off. The bumblebee sound that they add to this as an option here on the left side, yeah, it can get annoying. It buzzes at a frequency that, yeah, was a little bit of annoyance to me. But yeah, though, overall, I am really impressed with this fancy Corolla. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to really call this a Corolla, because, man, the Corolla has been one of my favorite vehicles that I've reviewed. And now that we have the fancy version, it's pretty nice. Well, guys, I hope you've enjoyed my review of the 2025 Lexus UX300h F-Sport handling package. Yeah, remember, find the right gear. Even though this is telling me I have gears, but I don't, because it's, yeah, CVT. See ya.